Hello, this is a video tutorial for the assignment page in Unit 1, Activity 3. And this will be our final assignment of Unit 1, and it will also be our biggest assignment. You'll be writing a narrative essay, and it will be worth 40 marks. So I'm going to break the assignment up into 3 steps, and it is highly suggested that you follow all 3 steps in order to make sure that you complete the assignment correctly. And so step 1 asks you to fill out a narrative essay outline. And so hopefully at the ending of the content page, we discussed how to pick a topic for your narrative essay. So hopefully you've already come up with a specific story and a theme that you can attach to that story. Okay, and then you'll download the narrative essay outline. It is a Microsoft Word document. You should be able to open it in Google Docs or in other word processing programs as well too. But if you have any trouble opening or typing into the narrative essay outline document, please let me know and I'll send it to you in another format. But when you open it, it'll look like this, and you're just going to fill in the different boxes here, creating an outline for your narrative essay. And so for the introduction paragraph, you're going to need a theme, which is an overall message or lesson, and you're going to want to briefly kind of establish why that theme is important to you or how you came to believe in that message. Okay, so that will hopefully come together eventually to be your introduction paragraph. And then you'll have your body paragraphs where you tell your personal story. So remember, focus on one specific event or day in your life, and you're going to have characters and locations and conflict, and you're going to tell that story from beginning, middle, and end. Also, make sure that you'll eventually have to, you don't have to in the outline here, but you'll eventually have to have dialogue between characters as well too, at least a little bit. So consider that when you're telling the story. Think about where you might add dialogue later on. Okay, and then after you've told your story, you've got your concluding paragraph where you're just going to sort of summarize that theme from the beginning, and kind of hopefully wrap everything up and show how the story that you told links to the theme. Okay. What I would suggest is after you're done the outline, you can certainly email it to me. And I'll take a look and I'll tell you if you're on the right track, if you have what seems to be a good theme, and if the story seems to connect with the theme. And then you can move on to step 2. And step 2 is a rough draft. And so what you're going to do is you're going to use your narrative essay outline as a guide, and you're going to write a rough draft of your essay. And so just kind of make sure that you're following these points right here, because this is essentially your essay requirements. So your essay must be told from your own point of view. So you're using first person. So you're probably going to use the word I a lot in your narrative essay. You're going to have to establish a theme in your opening paragraph and summarize it in your concluding paragraph, just as hopefully you've done in your narrative essay outline. You're going to tell a personal story in your body paragraphs which relate and support that theme. You're going to have hopefully interesting conflict, an interesting problem in the story that grabs the reader's attention. You're going to have characters and locations. You're going to have relevant dialogue, so conversation between characters. You don't have to have a lot of dialogue, but have at least 1 or 2 lines of dialogue between characters and stories in the story. You should have an appropriate tone. So depending on the nature of your story and the theme, you might have a serious tone, you might have a joyful tone or a sarcastic tone. It kind of depends on the story you're telling. You should shoot for about 600 to 750 words. So I'm asking you to write a narrative essay that's just a little bit longer than the narrative essays that we looked at as examples in the content. They were about 500 words, and I think when you look and read them over, they were very simple and straightforward. I'm asking you to go a little bit bigger than that, to about 600 to 750 words. After you complete your rough draft, you can download the narrative essay edit sheet here, and what that looks like is right here. And it just asks you some questions that you can kind of answer yourself, and try to be kind of critical here. Try to find positives and negatives in your writing and see if you can improve upon your initial rough draft. But by answering each of these questions and by filling in what you think is the strength and maybe a possible weakness or something that you can improve in your essay, hopefully that challenges you to think about the essay and to make it a little bit better. What you can certainly also do is you can email me or share your rough draft of your essay with me, and I'll give you some feedback before you move on and write the final version of your narrative essay. And speaking of which, step 3, you're going to submit your written, or you'll notice here, audio narrative essay. We'll get to the audio part here in a second. After considering your teacher's feedback, you're going to revise your narrative essay one more time, and you're going to check to make sure that you're meeting the requirements. And I've repeated the requirements here. They're essentially the same as these right here. Just a reminder that when I grade your narrative essay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, it has to have all of these parts. Okay, or all of these elements, I should say. You can also look at the rubric at the bottom here. So here's the rubric on how I will be grading your narrative essay, and you'll notice that the different elements of narrative essays are within the rubric. And I guess one last thing I would mention is an alternative option. The narrative essays that you read or listened to on the content page, they of course had an audio option, and so I'm giving you the same option. So narrative essays often are more powerful as oral essays. So if you choose, you can record and submit your essay as an audio file. It's not mandatory, but it adds another detail and another wrinkle to your assignment. If you do send me an audio file, I do need you to submit a text version. You of course would have to have a text version in order to read the essay and create an audio version. So send me both the text and the audio version. You can record audio inside the drop boxes, but you're limited to 3 minutes. So it depends on how long your narrative essay is, whether you can actually use the record audio function in the Dropbox. But you can always just record the essay as a file on your computer or on your laptop, and then submit that file. That shouldn't be a problem. And if there is a problem submitting audio to the Dropbox, you can always email it to me, and we'll figure a way for you to submit it. Okay. So what you do, as always, is you would go up to the Dropbox, and the Dropbox is right here, right underneath the submit your written/audio narrative essay. You would click on the Dropbox and you would submit your text file, and if you're submitting an audio file, you would submit the audio file. If you have any questions about this assignment, please let me know. It is our major assignment for Unit 1, so take it seriously and see if you can write a powerful and interesting narrative essay.